Alright, what's going on, everybody? We are live for Texas and Georgia. Game started a few minutes ago. I'm on a little bit later than I wanted to, so sorry about that. But Georgia's got the football here on their first drive, and they've got it inside the 20 at about the 16-yard line. But welcome to the stream, everybody. We got Georgia and Texas. Should be a great game. A big game for the playoff race. Texas could be eliminated if they lose, although I don't think that's a guarantee. But it definitely makes it very tough if they do lose. And then Georgia's obviously a top 5 team in the country. But it's a 2nd and 8 here for Texas. Manning on the option, going to keep it here, and Arch Manning pretty much taking down at the line of scrimmage. But welcome to the stream, everybody. A 3rd and 8 here for Texas. And Manning will look to throw. Throws underneath that. It's dropped by Wingo. He had space after the catch. Might have been able to get the first down. But Ryan Wingo drops it. And it brings up 4th and 8 here for Texas. Missed opportunity right there. Alright, there's the poll. Be sure to vote on that. I took Georgia in this game. I believe 27-24, but game I can definitely see going either way. But Texas to attempt a 33-yard field goal here. Mason Shipley from the right hash. And Shipley's kick is up and good. And Texas gets on the board first. A pretty solid drive ending in a field goal. And Texas takes the early 3-0 lead. There we go. But a good opening drive for Texas. As they officially go, let's see what it officially is. It is a 13-play, 59-yard drive that took 6:07 off the clock, ending in a 33-yard field goal, and now Georgia will get the ball for their first possession. But a pretty solid drive right there for Texas. 4.7 yards of carry, 33 yards on the ground, 31 yards through the air. While we're commercial, let me check my score prediction for the game. I think I said 27-24 Georgia, but I'm not completely sure on that. Let's see. I took Georgia. Yeah, 27-24. This is not a must-win game for Texas, but pretty much a must-win game. Because, I mean, I don't think they're eliminated if they do lose this game, because they're 10 right now. I would imagine a loss here wouldn't drop them a ton, considering it's on the road to Georgia, who's a top 5 team. And they've still got an opportunity to beat Texas A&M, who didn't look great in the first half today. But I was thinking about this. So Texas, they're a tough team to really get a feel for. Because obviously they played Ohio State in week 1. And they obviously lost that game. And then they've also got losses to Florida and who's their other loss? Oh, that is their 2 losses. Georgia will be their 3rd loss. I'm looking at it right now. I don't know why I can't seem to figure that out. But so essentially, I think a 9-3 Texas could get in if they didn't have that bad loss to Florida. Because without that bad loss, you have some good wins, you don't have any bad losses, and you've got some losses to good teams. So let's say hypothetically they didn't lose to Florida. They would have beat Florida, and instead, let's say they lose to Georgia and Texas A&M. Then Georgia or Texas would have been 9-3, with losses to a Texas A&M team that could be undefeated, a Georgia team that's got 1 loss, and Ohio State team is undefeated. They got 3 losses to 3 top 5 teams. But I don't really think they should be left out, especially because I don't think they should be punished for playing a tough game in the first week of the season. Because I then think that also sends the message that if you lost a close game early in the year to a great team, you're going to get left out because then they would have made it if they only had 2 losses. I think I did a terrible job explaining that. Hopefully that makes sense, but I don't really think I did a good job explaining that. But they're back from commercial here. This is a shorter kick, and it's going to be fair call at the 11-yard line. But Gunnar Stockton and the Georgia offense onto the field. Gunnar Stockton, 15 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions this season, 7 rushing touchdowns. Still not the biggest Gunnar Stockton fan. I mean, he's gotten better as the season's gone on, but I still don't really think he's amazing. Georgia offense faced a great Texas defense. One of the best defenses in the country. So 1st and 10 from the 25. Stockton in shotgun back to his left. And Stockton not ready for the snap, but he's going to take it here, roll to his right, and Stockton just going to try to get what he can here. And he's taken down for a couple yard loss. Colin Simmons on the tackle for loss. That play did not look good for Georgia. Stockton's not ready for the snap. And they're lucky to only lose 2, but that could have been bad. Let's make it 2nd and 12. From their own 23. Stockton in shotgun. And keeps it on the option here, getting to the outside. Stockton gets a block. Stockton's going to have a 1st down. Still going across the 40. And he out of bounds at the 43-yard line. A big play there makes up for the mistake on the previous play. Not like that was on Gunnar Stockton, though. So 1st and 10 for Georgia. Gunnar Stockton running the football 339 yards, 7 touchdowns this year. Comes under center for this play from the 43. And Stockton, quick throw to the outside for Zachariah Branch. And Branch is going to get wrapped up after getting about 3. That's something Texas needs to make sure they can do. Stop him because he's so good at the ball in his hands. Oh, Florida takes the lead on Ole Miss, by the way. That's an interesting game. Could potentially have playoff implications if Ole Miss loses. Florida's up 14-10 in that game, with 12 minutes, 11 seconds to go in the first half. But a 2nd and 7 here. Stockton, empty backfield. They bring Branch in motion. And Stockton going to look to throw. Plenty of time. Throws one downfield. That's caught. Inside the 30, down to the 29-yard line. London Humphreys makes the catch. And a nice chunk play right there for Georgia. But a good play right there. Gets them deep inside Texas territory. Ball on the 29. So Stockton in shotgun, back to his left. They bring Branch across the formation. And Stockton throws it out to Branch, but he's got no space, and he's pretty much taken down at the line of scrimmage. Zachariah Branch had a huge game last week, I believe it was. Where he had 10 catches. That might have been 2 weeks ago, though. Zachariah Branch has 2 catches for 3 yards. 2 weeks ago against Florida, he had a huge game. 10 catches for 112 yards. I mean, last week he was good too. 8 for 68 and a touchdown. They bring him in motion here. Stockton in shotgun back to his left. And Stockton could throw it once again. Stockton pressure, but hit as he throws. And that is incomplete. Trying to get it downfield to, I believe that's his running back out of the backfield. But it gets knocked away, incomplete. Tough catch for running back to make as well. A lot of pass plays early on for Georgia. Makes sense because this Texas run defense, one of the best in the country. Make it 3rd and 10 here from the 29-yard line. Stockton in shotgun back to his left. Texas brings 5. Stockton gets rid of it to the outside. That's called for a first down. Dylan Bell makes the catch. Got 11, needed 10. And Georgia gets it inside the red zone to Texas 19. I thought that pass might have gotten tipped to the line of scrimmage. A good throw from Stockton. And it was a wobbly throw. That's why I thought it got tipped. But ends up being an accurate throw, and Bell would make the catch. Stockton able to get rid of this here Zachariah Branch, but Branch no space after the catch once again. And he's now got about 4 yards on 3 catches. So 2nd and 9 here for Georgia. They scored touchdowns on 28 of their 37 red zone trips. That is 76%, 8th best in the FBS. An 8-play, 58-yard drive so far for Georgia. Stockton under center from the 17-yard line. And Stockton play action here, rolling right, throwing downfield into the end zone. Call for a Georgia touchdown. Georgia goes right down the field in their first drive. Thomas makes the catch. A nice throw from Gunnar Stockton. It's a 17-yard touchdown for Noah Thomas. And Georgia goes right down the field and they take their first lead of the day. A 9-play, 75-yard drive to take 4:41 off the clock. What a drive. A lot of pass plays on that drive, but they go right down the field and score the opening drive touchdown. And here is the extra point for Georgia. Peyton Woodring is up and good. So it's 7-3. Georgia takes the lead with a great touchdown on their opening drive. And that's definitely something that's big for Georgia because they've gotten off to some really slow starts this year. But to go down against a great Texas defense and score a touchdown in your first drive is definitely encouraging. But Georgia, they were really good in the first half last week. But, I mean, they've been an awful first half team for the most part in this season. I mean, really the first quarter, they've been really bad. I mean, the second quarter, they haven't been much better. But, like, let's go through each game. Like, I'll give them a pass for Marshall. And, like, I'm not going to count that really because that's Marshall. But, I mean, Austin Peay, they were only up 14-3 at the half. They only ended up winning that game 28-6. Then against Tennessee, they were down 21-7 at the end of the first quarter. They were down 21-17 at the half. Against Alabama, they were down 24-14 at the half. Against Kentucky, they were winning, but Kentucky's pretty bad. 21-7 at the half. Auburn down 10-3 at the half. 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. Against Ole Miss, they were down 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. And they were down 21-20 at halftime. Against Florida, they were down 10-7 at the end of the first quarter. 10-10 at halftime. And then last week, down 7-3 at the end of the first quarter, but 24-7 at halftime. So, I mean, I guess the numbers aren't quite as bad, but Georgia, they've gotten off to some really slow starts this season, but it's definitely good to see them score an opening drive touchdown. But Gunnar Stockton on that drive, 6 of 7, 57 yards, also 2 carries for 18 yards. Stockton did it all on that first drive. Every play was him either running the ball or throwing the ball. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial. Let's check out some other scores while we wait for them to come back. Florida was beating Ole Miss before. I wonder if they still are. No, Ole Miss took the lead 17-14. Touchdown pass to Dijon's dribbling for Ole Miss. Utah leads Baylor 21-7. Ohio State up on UCLA 10-0. And those are the only top 25 games at the moment. So we wait for them to come back from commercial here. Be sure to vote in the poll if you guys have not already done so. Georgia only has 67% of the vote. Texas with 33%. I do have Georgia with 1. I've got them 27-24. But I do think it'll be a very close game. So Texas will get the football back, down by 4, after each team's opening drive. So Georgia kicks this away, and this kick going to go through the end zone for a touchback, and it'll come out to 25. But the offense for Texas is pretty solid in their first drive. Ran the football pretty well. And able to kick a field goal on their opening drive. And they're going to go to commercial. Hate when they do that. All we saw was a kickoff that wasn't even returned, and they got to go to another commercial. Like, I understand why they do it, because they need to get in all their commercials, obviously. And, like, they usually do that, like, after long touchdown drives, but the touchdown drive for Georgia wasn't even that long. It was, like, 5 minutes. But apparently they haven't gotten enough commercials in yet, so you gotta go to another one. See, looking at some other scores right now, Missouri leads Mississippi State 7-0. And that game's not really that great, but it's interesting. Actually, 7-3. Mississippi State just kicked a field goal as I clicked on that game. Got any coaching predictions on who might be getting fired or changing jobs? That's a good one. So apparently, Virginia Tech is interested in James Franklin, and there's mutual interest there. Obviously, Lane Kiffin's the one everyone's talking about. I think he stays at Ole Miss. I mean, I don't really think there's any reason for him to leave. Because it's not like Ole Miss isn't giving him what he needs to succeed. They've been one of the best teams in going after players in the transfer portal every year. So, I think he stays. I think John Summerall goes to LSU. That's one a lot of people have said. I mean, it's right in LSU's backyard, going from Tulane to LSU. Who else? Penn State. I really have no idea. Maybe Brian Dable. I mean, I've seen that rumored a few times. But it's going to be really interesting to watch all these coaching changes, because there's obviously a ton of big job openings, but there's only so many big names you can possibly get. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. I think Alex Golesh, the guy from South Florida, could end up in Florida as well. That's another one that's not too far. I'm trying to think, what are some other big ones? Auburn, that's one. That's open, obviously. There's so many, it's hard to even remember them all. Wait a minute. Florida retakes the lead on Ole Miss. 21-17. A 57-yard touchdown for Florida. And Florida's back on top right there. 21-17. That's definitely one to watch. Didn't expect Florida to really compete in that game, especially after how bad they looked last week. They're back from commercial here, and they hand it off to Wingo. He got slammed to the ground after getting just a yard. Ryan Ringo's really started to break out for Texas. Been playing pretty well recently. Had a nice game against Vanderbilt in the first couple drives before he got hurt and hurt his thumb, but he's back for this game, obviously. Here's Arch Manning to throw, and he'll throw outside, check it down for C.J. Baxter, who makes a man miss, and Baxter lowers his shoulder near the marker, and they're going to mark him out about 2 yards short, make it 3rd and 2. So Ryan Wingo, he went 2 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown against Vanderbilt, and the game before that, he went 5 for 184 against Mississippi State. After a fairly slow start to the season for him. But a 3rd and 2 here. Manning is going to check this down to the tight end. Andrews, and he's got nowhere to go. Taken down actually for a loss of 2. And it's 4th down with 3:10 to go. Georgia's defense was a great play right there, and Texas is probably going to be forced to punt right here. So the punt team comes on for Texas, and they're going to send it away as they go 3 and out on their second drive. Quintavious Johnson, sophomore from Atlanta, in on that tackle for Walsh. So on 4th and 4, we got a play blown dead due to a flag. It's going to be a false start. We'll back Texas up 5. So it's now 4th and 9 after the penalty. And the punt, away clean for Texas. And this punt is going to be fair caught by Branch at the 33-yard line. So that is where Georgia will take over for their second possession. Obviously, they go right down the field for their first possession. On that drive, Gunnar Stockton, a pretty good drive, 6 of 7, 57 yards and a touchdown. We'll start this drive on the ground here, running it straight up the middle with Bowens. And he'll pick up 9. Good first down run. Makes it 2nd and short here. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Stockton under center. Another handoff. Bowens straight ahead. He's got another first down. Another good run. Got about 7 yards. And all the way up to midfield for Georgia. This Georgia offense really run the football effectively this year. After they really struggled to run the football last year. Last year they were very raw on the pass. Couldn't run the football. This year it's not the opposite. They're better offensively. Because of their ability to run the football, their pass game definitely not as good. A 1st and 10 here. Stockton under center. Ball in midfield. And Stockton off play action here. Dumps it off into the flat for the tight end Delp. And he's taken down after a pickup of 6. So we've got a minute to go in the first quarter. Ball on the Texas 44. Georgia's looking good offensively so far. We got Stockton in shotgun back to his left. A 2nd and 4. Stockton. Throw to the outside. That one's caught. And, wow, the defender holding on to his foot there, not letting him get away. But it will be a pickup of 6 and enough for a Georgia first down. Noah Thomas, the guy who caught the touchdown before, on the catch right there. And that's probably going to take us to the second quarter. Yeah, Georgia's not going to get wound up for another play. So we head to the second quarter. Georgia leads Texas 7-3. At the end of the first quarter. And Georgia looks pretty good offensively. Texas had one good drive, but second drive was not good with the 3 and out. But some stats from the first quarter. Georgia outgaining Texas 107-70. Georgia's also 1 of 1 on third down. Texas is 0 for 3. Both teams pretty solid on the ground, about 35 rushing yards for each, although Georgia on 8.5 yards a carry, Texas on 4.4. And both teams with just 1 incompletion of the day, but Georgia with more passing yards. And Texas actually has the end time possession 7:58 compared to 7:02 in the first quarter. Let's see some other scores from around the country. Let's see here. Florida Ole Miss still 21-17. Ole Miss in the red zone. Man, that game's going to be like 52-51 with the way that game's going. Utah now leads Baylor 21-10. Baylor kicked a field goal. Ohio State still leads UCLA 10-0. But that's it. Nothing else has changed. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial as we enter the second quarter of play. Georgia with the football and a 7-3 lead. Georgia's got it on the Texas 38. And they're first and 10. So far, results in the poll, 60% of you guys said Georgia will win, 40% have said Texas. Again, be sure to vote if you have not already done so. We're back from commercial here. Start the second quarter. We got Stockton in shotgun with the back to his left. Stockton, pump fakes, gets pressured, steps up, throws over the middle. That's caught by Zachariah Branch, and he's got space after the catch. Inside the 20, Branch, inside the 10, he's tripped up the 7-yard line. An example of what he can do after the catch. And a big catch and run for Georgia. Pick up of 30. Sets him up first and goal. So Stockton in shotgun back to his left. They bring Lawson Lucky in motion, one of the tight ends. And Stockton looks to throw. Stockton floats one. End zone incomplete. Looking for Lucky. Flag comes down, though. We got a hold here against the defense. Goes against Anthony Hill. So half the distance to the goal. And it's still first down. But don't really see any penalty right there. Unless I was looking at the wrong guy. But a first and goal. Stockton tosses it to the right side for Nate Frazier. And Frazier is going to get knocked out of bounds after getting just a yard. Not a ton of running room right there. On toss to the short side of the field. This is the Texas run defense, allowing just 78.7 rushing yards per game, which is second best in the country, and they're 2.4 yards per carry, third best in the country. Stockton hands it off here. Bowens up the middle, and he's stuffed at the line. No gain. It brings up third and goal. Back-to-back nice plays against the run for this Texas defense. Now here's an interesting one right here. Third and goal from about the 3. 7 plays, 62 yards in the drive so far. Gotta be aware of Gunnar Stockton's legs if you're Texas defense. So Stockton in shotgun back to his right. Stockton looks to throw, has time, throws the outside, is called for a touchdown. Noah Thomas again, and Georgia extends their lead. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for Georgia, both to Noah Thomas. This time it's a 4-yard touchdown, and Georgia about to be up 14-3. And if Georgia is a team that's actually going to start getting off to fast starts, nobody's going to want to play them. I mean, I already don't really want to play Georgia, but then that's going to make them really dangerous. And the extra point here for Georgia makes it 14-3. What a start for Georgia. 14-3. 2 touchdowns on 2 drives, and their defense only got a field goal. But a great start for Georgia. It's now 14-3. It's 12:49 to go in the first half. Florida still leads Ole Miss 21-17. 2 minutes left in the first half there. Ole Miss still has the ball in the red zone. They've got a third and goal from the Florida 6. Utah extends their lead against Baylor 28-10. And Baylor really has no defense. And Ohio State UCLA is still 10-0. A little bit closer than I expected for that game. Ohio State with a 4th and 5 on the UCLA 11. In a position to potentially extend their lead. But we wait for them to come back from commercial. But Texas is going to get the football back here. Definitely need to put up some points on this drive. At least a field goal, ideally a touchdown if you're Georgia. Or if you're Texas, because with the way your defense is playing, it's not looking good. But we still wait for them to return from commercial. So far, results in the poll, 60% of you guys said Georgia will win, 40% have to Texas. Be sure to vote if you've not already done so. They go back to this touchdown here. This is a great route by Noah Thomas. It's a little whip route where he goes inside then back outside. This kickoff going to get returned from Texas from pretty deep in the end zone. But they got some space. Oh, this one's a big return inside Georgia territory. All the way down to about the 40-yard line. We got a flag down. So it's a good decision to bring it out for Texas. From Ryan Niblett, who has brought back a couple punts this year. But a flag here, and this is probably going to come back. So it's a hold against Texas. Man, their special teams coordinator does not look happy. Let's see here. They call it against 24. And they kind of like tackle each other. But a great return, but after the penalty, Texas instead starts their own 9-yard line. But that would have been great. Starting inside Georgia territory, maybe they can spark your offense, but now you're at your own 9. Manning, hands off here. Wisner to the right side. Flag comes down, and Wisner picks up 9. This one's probably going to come back as well. Another hold against Texas. Yeah, holding the jersey right there. That's definitely a penalty. Texas 8.1 penalties per game. That's tied for 5th most in the FBS. Ole Miss field goal against Florida, by the way, 21-20. Still Florida leads. Still in the first half. But 1st and 15 here. Arch Manning looks to throw, standing in his own end zone. And he throws over the middle. That's caught in stride. He got a lot of space after the catch. Still going across the 40-yard line all the way up to the 44. Huge catch and run right there for Texas. That's a big first down. Gets him some breathing room and a huge play. Emmett Mosley makes the catch. And a big run after the catch as well. Nice throw from Arch Manning. Able to hit him in stride. 39 yards in the catch and run. So from the 44-yard line, Manning to throw once again. Bobbles the football, but holds on to it. Now takes a shot. Deep down the field. Passes. Oh, almost caught by Wingo. Got hands on it. Almost able to haul it in. But it brings up 2nd and 10. That would have been a great catch. That was thrown just barely too far, but still a pass that can definitely be caught. Wingo got both hands on it. Could have made the play. It's now a 2nd and 10 here from the 44-yard line. Motion receiver out wide, and Manning looks that way. Instead, he comes over the middle, and that pass dropped. Brings up 3rd and 10. So it's 3rd and 10. Potentially 4-down territory for Texas, depending on how much you get right here. They are at their own 44. But if they can make this 4th and 3, probably go for it. Manning looks to throw. Manning throws. That is incomplete. Looking for DeAndre Moore. And that pass might have went off his hands. And it's 4th and 10. And Texas forced a punt. Yeah, this one should be caught. Goes right through his hands. So instead, Texas forced to punt it away again. And we got a fair catch at the 13-yard line by Zachariah Branch. But costly mistakes for Texas on that drive. You've got penalties, which wipe off the big return. You got a drop by Wingo downfield. You got a drop right there. I mean, the Wingo catch, I'm not going to put on him too much because that is a really tough catch to make, but that is one that could be caught. But the one to DeAndre Moore right there on 3rd down, that one's got to be caught. And if you catch that, I think you go for it. But obviously fell incomplete, and they're forced to punt it away. And now Georgia with the football back, and we'll see if the Texas defense can get a stop or if Georgia's going to keep having their way offensively. But with the Texas offense punting away again, you've got to find a way to get a stop right here. Hold on 1 second. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial. Obviously, a 14-3 Georgia lead. Ohio State now up 17-0 after an 11-yard touchdown from Julian Sayin. Florida still up by a point, still in the first half. Utah leads Baylor 28-10, still in the first half. Both those games about 30 seconds before halftime. Last year, these two teams met twice. Georgia won both of them. They won in Texas 30-15, and they won the SEC championship game in overtime 29-22. That was a game Gunnar Stockton obviously came in for the injured Carson Beck and led them to the comeback win. But 11-19 to go in the first half here. But Texas this season, they've won 4 straight since their loss to Florida, but their last 3 wins have been by 7 points or fewer. They've gone to overtime against Mississippi State and Kentucky. Neither team is great, which that's definitely a little concerning. And then in their most recent game against Vanderbilt, they had a great first half, then not so great in the second half, and Vanderbilt almost came back. There's a handoff short at the middle here for Nate Frazier, and he's got a good first down run. Got 7 yards up to the 20-yard line. So 2nd and 2, they'll actually give him 8 on first down. That's a good opening drive run, especially against one of the best run defenses in the country. Stockton in shotgun here back to his left. And another throw outside to Zachariah Branch. And Branch taken down pretty much the line of scrimmage. Looks like they'll give him a yard. And it brings up 3rd and short. For the Texas defense, you gotta get a stop right here. 3rd and 1. Stockton gonna hand it off. Frazier up the middle, and he's gonna have a first down. Not much, but he will get enough to move the sticks. And a first down for Georgia. We got 10 minutes to go in the first half. Stockton in shotgun. Branch goes in motion. And they'll stay on the ground here this time. Bowens, this time, no gain. Actually, lost the yard on the play. It brings up 2nd and 11. But not very many negative plays forced by this Texas defense so far. That's a big one right there, though. So 2nd and 11. Stockton and shotgun back to his right. Stockton, off play action, looks to throw. Stockton takes a shot down the sideline that is incomplete, looking for a back shoulder throw. What brings up 3rd and 11 as the pass falls incomplete. So 3rd and 11. Another big opportunity for this Texas defense to get off the field. But Georgia perfect on 3rd down, 3 of 3. They empty the backfield for Gunnar Stockton. They bunch 3 receivers to the right side. Stockton throws left to the 3rd down back, Cass Jones, and he's tripped up after a gain of 7, and does bring up 4th down. So it's 4th down, and the Texas defense gets a stop, and they'll get the ball back to the offense. Big stop right there, because you don't want to go down potentially 21-3 right here. So Brett Thorson on to punt it away. Ryan Niblett, a very dangerous returner, back deep to receive. Obviously had that big return on a kickoff before, although it got called back. And Niblett averaging 24.7 yards per punt return. That is insane. Leads the country. I believe he's also brought 2 back for a touchdown, including a huge return touchdown against Mississippi State. Which really helped them come back. Let's see. Ryan Niblett, he has 2 punt return touchdowns this season. No kick return touchdowns. But he's got 2 return touchdowns on punts. 420 punt return yards on 17 punt returns. Alright, how's it going? So it's a 4th and 4 here. Georgia moving people around here. But eventually they'll snap it and punt it away. And Niblett going to let this punt bounce, and it's going to take a Georgia bounce down to the 29-yard line. I didn't know you were going to watch along for this game. Yeah, I will do some for college. I mean, obviously, I'm doing one, but I haven't done many this year because there hasn't been a ton of great games at night. But I mean, we've got a top 10 matchup here, so I decided to do one. And hopefully, I will do some more. Like I'm going to do a lot more within the next couple weeks. I'm not sure about next week though, although a lot of games for next week's times haven't been announced. Yeah, I believe this is my third college stream. I did Oregon, Penn State, and Clemson LSU. But I'll definitely be doing a lot more. And yeah, I'm gonna do a lot more stream obviously. Maybe next week. I'm still deciding, depending on what games or what times. Then I'm definitely gonna have a stream in week 14 rivalry week. Probably or Texas A&M and Texas that Friday, and then I'll be streaming a conference championship game. Figure out which one. Probably the Big Ten at night, and then I'll probably stream. I don't know if I'm gonna stream every playoff game again, but I'm gonna at least try to stream most of them. Bama loss will be interesting to see where they're placed. Yeah, that's an interesting one because now Oklahoma's going to be above Alabama, and Alabama was 4. They were the highest ranked one-loss team. So they're definitely going to fall. I still think they're definitely inside the top 10. But the interesting thing for Alabama is that Florida State loss looks worse and worse every week. But I mean, if you're Alabama, you've got a bad loss to Florida State, but you've also got some good wins. You've got obviously the win over Georgia, you've got the win over Vanderbilt, you've got a win over Tennessee, and now you've got a 2-point loss to Oklahoma. So I mean, Alabama's still going to be very high. I would think they'll probably still be somewhere around the 8 or 9 range. Georgia will move up to 4, assuming they win. Texas Tech 1, they'll go up to 5. Ole Miss is no guarantee because they are losing right now at the half against Florida, but they move up if they win. I think Alabama would probably be the second highest 2-loss team right behind Oklahoma. I would say probably 9. 8 or 9. Somewhere around there. Obviously, it does depend what other teams do, but that's where I would probably think at the moment. 1st and 10 here from the 30 for Texas. Arch Manning, quick throw, set at the screen for Wingo. And Ryan Wingo gets a block, gets tripped up, and a good catch and run. 14 yards, and a good start to the drive for Texas. How did South Carolina lose today? I'm still trying to figure that out. Yeah, that was a crazy game. I mean, I don't know how Texas A&M looked so bad in the first half and so good in the second half. That was an insane comeback. Here's another quick throw to the outside for Parker Livingstone. And he's going to get a block, get a first down, gain 12. The flag is down. Yeah, I was thinking about with that game, oh man, how bad is this going to be for Texas A&M? How far are they going to end up dropping? Just for them to come back and win. That was an insane game. Because I mean, even though that would have been Texas A&M's first loss, I mean, losing by potentially like 40 to a unranked South Carolina team who's won only 3 games all year, although that would have been their 4th at home, that would have not been good. So I would have been interesting to see how far they would have dropped, but I was don't have to think about that now because Texas A&M able to come back and win. The flag on this play was a hold against DeAndre Moore, number 0 for Texas. So it wipes off a nice 12-yard pickup on the screen, and instead it backs him up 10. Or 10 yards from the spot, so technically it's 1st and 16. So from their own 39, Manning, quick throw to the outside. That one's caught. And they'll get it up to the 49-yard line. Gain of 10. Mosley makes the catch. Brings up 2nd and 6. They do a good job getting the penalty yards back. So from their own 49, Manning, off play action, and Arch throws one that is going to be caught at the 30-yard line. Mosley again, a 35-yard one, actually. Another nice throw and catch. Arch Manning's definitely gotten better as the season progressed. There's a handoff to Wisner up the middle. And Trey Wisner going to pick up 6. Down at the 29. We got 6:17 to go in the first half. So a 14-3 Georgia lead. Manning pump fakes the screen. And now Manning going to throw one over the middle. That pass low and incomplete. Livingstone the intended target. And it brings up 3rd and 4. Texas 0 for 4 on 3rd down today. Could be 4 down territory right here. Manning in shotgun looks to throw. And this is a quick throw. High throw and intercepted. It's picked off at the 16-yard line. Wow. That is a huge turnover right there. He threw it too high and it got picked off. That's another bad mistake for Texas. And they've had some big penalties, some big drops. Now, a turnover right here, right when your offense is doing something. Wow, that is not good. I mean, Arch Manning also threw a bullet right there when his receiver's like 10 yards away. Tight window throw backfired. Yeah, that is not a good one right there. The Texas defense back on the field. They've been on the field quite a bit so far. And a gain of 3 here for Georgia for Nate Frazier on the first down run. But I mean, that interception for Arch Manning is what you don't want to do. Miss high over the middle. And that's exactly what he did. But it's a 2nd and 8 here. Stockton under center to actually give Georgia 2 on first down. They go back to the ground with Frazier. And another 2, maybe 3 yards. Not a ton of space. So Georgia's 3 of 4 on 3rd down. This is another 3rd down here. 3rd and about 5. Or we'll spot at 6. From their own 20. Stop right here would be big for the Texas defense. Not the interception hurt him. Texas brings a blitz. Stockton gets pressured. Rolls right. Trips. Stockton still on his feet. Throws one downfield. Just threw it out of bounds. And the Texas defense going to force a 3 and out. Well, that was a great possession right there for the Texas defense. They're going to get a stop, and they're going to get the ball right back to the offense. And not let the turnover hurt them. But after a tough start for the Texas defense, they've really settled in with back-to-back punts. This one is 3 and out. And this is a short punt. It's going to stay in Georgia territory. It skips it about the 46-yard line. Not a good punt right there for Georgia. And let's see if Texas can capitalize off this. The defense forced a 3 and out. You get a bad punt. Maybe you can capitalize off this, put this into the end zone. But a lot of mistakes so far for Texas. Multiple drops. Obviously, interception for Arch Manning. A lot of penalties. Texas needs to be a lot better. Arch Manning really hasn't been that bad. 11 of 17 for 120 yards. Really, his only mistake is that interception. 4.5 minutes to go in the first half. Manning looks to throw, gets pressured, and able to get a throw off to CJ Baxter for a gain of 5. Good job just to get something out of that instead of take a sack. So from the 41-yard line, Manning flips this to Wingo on the end around, and Wingo's got nowhere to go. Not much blocking ever developed on that play. And it's going to be a loss of 2. Brings up 3rd and 7. Very slow developing play right there for Texas that never really developed. If the tight end out there can seal the edge, they probably get a big play, but he whiffs terribly on that block. So it's a 3rd and 7. Texas 0 third down conversions today. Manning looks to throw. Manning has time. Throws downfield. Incomplete. Led DeAndre Moore too far. And it brings up 4th down. And now a decision right here for Texas on 4th and 7. You're on the 43-yard line. You're not going to kick a field goal from here. But it's 4th and 7. It's going to be a punt here for Texas. A flag comes in at the snap. And this punt is down at the 5-yard line. So it's a good punt. But there's a flag down at the snap, which probably is going to be some kind of illegal formation or something against Texas. It's an illegal shift against Texas. Not everyone was set. It's a 5-yard penalty and they'll re-kick. That's what Georgia. That's what Georgia opts to do. Already the 7th penalty for Texas. And now they'll see if they can pin him back deep once again. This punt is going to be caught at the 8-yard line. No fair catch. And Branch makes a man miss and returns it to the 15. So a difference of about 10 yards in field position from a 5-yard penalty. So ends up being the right decision for Georgia to make him re-kick as they get better field position here. And that was not a good drive right there for Texas. I mean, you throw the interception, but then you don't get hurt at all because you're able to get the ball right back and force a 3 and out. But then you get the ball back and you give it right back on another 3 and out. But the offense needs to wake up for Texas. But Georgia with the ball back here. Stockton takes a shot downfield. Up the seam. That's caught by Oscar Delp to the 36-yard line. A nice throw and catch. 2:45 to go in the first half. Oscar Delp, 2 catches for 29 yards. From the 39-yard line, Stockton and shotgun back to his left. They bring Branch across the formation. And they hand it off here with Bowens. And he'll gain 3 to the right side. Our teams both playing each other tomorrow, by the way. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Excited to see how that game plays out. Don't have very high expectations for the Giants, but I think they'll be decent. And I mean, with Jameis at quarterback, you never know. Anything is possible. But that also brings us to the 2-minute warning here in the first half. A 14-3 Georgia lead. With 2 minutes to go in the first half. Yeah, just hoping for a reaction. I got it. Some other scores around the country. Florida leads Ole Miss 24-20 at the half. Utah leads Baylor 28-17 at the half. And Ohio State leads 27-0 on UCLA. A little bit of a slow start there for Ohio State, but a lot better over the last few minutes. And that game is pretty much at halftime as well. There's 1 second left in the first half right there. Why do they have to embarrass UCLA on national TV? That's a good question. I'm really not sure who decided to put that game at night on NBC. It's a Big Ten. Yeah, I mean, you could easily put USC and Iowa at night. That would have been so much better. I'm sure there's more than just what they felt like doing. But that would have made so much more sense to have that game at night, as opposed to putting Ohio State and UCLA, and that game's gonna be a 50-point blowout. But USC is an interesting team. Obviously, they beat Iowa today, 26-21. They get Oregon next week. And if they win that game, they could be a playoff team. They get Oregon and then UCLA. But they're definitely a team to watch out for over the last 2 weeks of the season. No, Iowa lost, 26-21. They got off to a great start. I think they were up like 21-7 or something like that, and then USC came back. Now back-to-back losses for Iowa, Oregon, and USC. But they're back from commercial here after the 2-minute warning. Stockton under center and hands off to Dylan Bell on the jet sweep. And Bell, a good pickup, gains 8 up the midfield, stopping the clock temporarily with 1:55 to go. Although Bell got hurt after that one, as he goes limping off the field. Hopefully he's okay. The clock running here, 1:50 to go. Both teams with some timeouts. Georgia still with all 3. Texas has 2. 1:40 to go in the first half. Stockton in shotgun. And they're going to continue to run the football. This time it's Bowens on the carry. He got just a yard though. Not much space. 90 seconds to go in the first half. Colin Simmons with a nice play right there. So 2nd and 9. Down to a minute 3 to go in the first half. Stockton in shotgun. Frazier to his right. Stockton, quick throw to the outside. That pass caught by Thomas. The guy who's got the 2 touchdowns today. And he swung out of bounds after a gain of about 6. So it's 3rd and 4 here. 51 seconds to go. The interesting thing, Georgia doesn't really seem to be in a rush. I mean, I know they're still at a lot of time, but I feel like you might want to save yourself a little bit more time. But I guess they can really manage the clock however they want with all 3 timeouts. But this is a 3rd and 4. Georgia 3 of 5 on 3rd down. Stockton the option, breaks a couple tackles, but is taken down for a loss. Lost a yard, makes it 4th and 5. And 44 seconds left in the first half. We got a timeout called by, I would assume, Texas. I mean, Stockton does a good job making a couple guys miss. But Texas defense able to rally the football and take him down. And Texas did call the timeout before this 4th and 5. 44 seconds left in the first half. And Georgia does get the ball to start the second half. So Texas really needs to try to do something here before halftime. As they'll get the ball back. And Georgia sends on the punt team. So it's 4th and 5. Thorson to punt it away and try to pin Texas back deep. And this is going to bounce at the 20, and it'll then be down at the 16. So not an amazing punt, but it's okay. So starting at your own 16. Let's see how aggressive Texas is right here. 34 seconds and a timeout to work with. Georgia still with all 3 timeouts. So 1st and 10. Manning looks to throw. Manning pressured, rolls to his right, pump fakes, and Arch Manning going to take a sack. Wow, that is not what you wanted to do right there. Just throw it away. But instead you take a sack, and Texas might just take this to halftime. Yeah, you just got to throw that away. Well, let's see here. Oh, we got an injured Georgia player. That stops the clock with 16 seconds left. Bob's hopefully he's okay. He's able to walk off the field. It's defensive lineman Christian Miller. 6'4", 305, a junior from Ellenwood, Georgia. Number 5 defensive tackle prospect, according to Mel Kiper. Well, he got tripped up and went high in the air for somebody who's over 300 pounds. Took a hard fall. Hopefully he's okay. Georgia defense playing well. Yeah, Georgia defense looked good. Texas offense also hurt themselves quite a bit. So 6 seconds left. in the first half. Ball on their own 7-yard line. Wouldn't expect Texas to do anything too crazy here. Oh, the clock was actually running. I wasn't even paying attention to that. So Texas just lets it go to halftime, and it's 14-3 at the half, and Georgia gets the ball to start the second half. But I mean, the Texas defense got off to a slow start, but they've settled in nicely. Georgia hasn't scored since their first 2 drives. But the Texas offense needs to get going. And Texas really needs their defense to continue to play well, especially with Georgia getting the ball to start the second half. Georgia 87-4 under Kirby Smart and leading at halftime. That is pretty good. So you like to like their chances right here. Well, I'm gonna go take a quick break. I'm gonna go use the bathroom, fill my water. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. But we got Georgia leading Texas 14-3 at the half and getting the football to start the second half. So they're in a really good spot right here. And yeah, Texas isn't looking great. I mean, their defense has stepped up, playing much better recently, but they didn't get off to a great start. And they really need the offense to wake up as well. Well, as far as an updated score prediction goes, originally I said Georgia 27-24. I'm going to stick with Georgia. I do think they've been the better team overall. They've been the better team, especially offensively. So I'm going to take Georgia. I'll stick with them. And updated score will go... Let's go 24-13. We'll go 24-13, updated score prediction. And we'll go over some stats from that first half. Beginning with player stats for Texas. Arch Manning wasn't that bad outside of the interception. That's his only major mistake. But otherwise, he went 12 of 19 for 125 yards. No touchdowns and a pick. Then, running the football, Wisner 6 carries, 36 yards. CJ Baxter 1 carry for 3 yards. Ryan Wingo 2 carries for 0 yards. And Arch Manning 2 carries for -9. Now, receiving for Texas, Emmett Mosley has 3 catches for 66 yards. DeAndre Moore a catch for 19. Ryan Wingo 2 catches for 16 yards. He's also got a couple of drops. CJ Baxter has 2 catches for 11 yards. Wisner 1 catch, 7 yards. Livingstone 1 for 4. And Jack Endries 2 for 2. Then for Georgia, Gunnar Stockton played a really good first half. He went 14 of 17 for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And running the football for Georgia, they were pretty solid. Stockton 3 carries, 17 yards. Chauncey Bowens 5 carries for 17 yards. Nate Frazier 6 for 15. And Dylan Bell 1 for 8. Then receiving, Zachariah Branch 5 catches for 35 yards. Noah Thomas 4 catches for 32 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oscar Delp 2 for 29. London Humphreys 1 for 25. Dylan Bell 1 for 11. And Cass Jones 1 for 7. And then some team stats from the first half. Georgia with 11 first downs, Texas with 7. Georgia 3 of 6 on third down, Texas 0 for 6. Texas is 1 of 1 on fourth down. Georgia hasn't attempted a fourth down. Georgia outgaining Texas 196 to 155. Georgia's a better team throwing the football and running the football. And Texas with way too many penalties in that first half. 7 penalties for 43 yards. No penalties called against Georgia. And 1 turnover in the first half. That was obviously the interception thrown by Arch Manning. And time possession 16-22 for Georgia, 13-12. That's not add up to... Let me refresh it. That's not add up to 30. It's 16-22 for Georgia, 13-12 for Texas. That is not right. Let's see what it really is. Let's see. Time possession. That's not right either. Okay, so I don't know what the time possession is, but Georgia's got slight advantage. But we'll go over some other scores from around the country. We'll check on Florida and Ole Miss. That game's been an interesting one. So let's see. Florida still leads Ole Miss 24-20. 7:55 to go in the third quarter there. But Ole Miss in the red zone. They got 3rd and goal from the 1. Utah leads Baylor 28-20. 8:09 to go in the third quarter there. Ohio State leads UCLA 27-0 at the half. BYU and TCU starts in about an hour. And then other scores from today. We had Michigan beat Northwestern 24-22. That game was not a very good game for Michigan, but they found a way to win. Although they turned it over 5 times. Arizona upset Cincinnati 30-24. Indiana beat Wisconsin 31-7. That game, not a great start for Indiana, but ended up being very good. Fernando Mendoza threw 299 yards and 4 touchdowns. Texas A&M, we already talked about their crazy comeback win over South Carolina 31-30. Navy beat South Florida in a shootout, and the Group 5 playoff race is pure chaos right now. I mean, Navy's got a chance to make the playoff if they win out, but it's going to be tough for them because they play Memphis next week, who's good. And then they play, or could potentially play, in the American Conference Championship game if they make it there. But I do believe they are in the championship game if they beat Memphis. Actually, that's not next week. That's 2 weeks from now, on Thanksgiving, actually. The 27th. Yeah, Navy, they have an opportunity to make the playoff as the Group of 5 team. But South Florida's now probably out. Because they lost the second conference game. Memphis has 2 conference losses. They're probably not going to make the championship game. I think the best bets right now are really Navy, North Texas, Tulane, and then James Madison out of the Sun Belt. I think they might be the favorite right now. I mean, they're 8-1, 6-0 in conference play. They look really good. They just destroyed App State 58-10 today. And they've been playing well. Their only loss is a 14-point loss against Louisville, which really doesn't look that bad. Because Louisville's really good. They're pretty good. But, I mean, Tulane, they're a team that I'm on at the start of the year. They are an interesting team. I mean, they're not that bad, but they also got destroyed by UTSA a couple weeks ago, which definitely doesn't look great. But I mean, they got a win over Duke, who might win the ACC. Actually, they can't win the ACC anymore because they lost today. But they've got some power conference wins. They got wins over Northwestern. They got wins over Duke. They did get destroyed by Ole Miss, but kind of what you'd expect. They got a win over Memphis, although they've got a bad loss to UTSA. They're an interesting one. ECU is still only 1 loss in the conference, but I don't think they're great. But they've got a path. Potentially, they got UTSA and FAU. Their final 2 games. And North Texas is a team. They got a great offense, not much of a defense. But they've got a chance. They're 9-1 right now, 1 conference loss. They play a 5-5 Rice team next week. And the following week, they play a 5-5 Temple team. So I think they have a chance to make it. The Group 5 playoff race is pure chaos. Alright, so really good off track right there. But that's fine. Georgia Tech beat Boston College 36-34. That is a interesting one. Did not expect that game to be anywhere near that close. But Georgia Tech does escape with the win. Oklahoma upset Alabama 23-21. How about that Oklahoma defense? They were dominant. They forced 3 turnovers. I mean, they did well over 400 yards, but I was really impressed by that Oklahoma defense. They forced 3 turnovers, got some big stops in that game, 4 sacks, a defensive touchdown. I was really impressed by that defense. Then USC beat Iowa. They're still alive in playoff contention if they can beat Oregon next week. But they beat Iowa 26-21. Texas Tech beat UCF 48-9. Virginia beat Duke 34-17. Thought that game would be a lot closer. I actually took Duke to win that game. Tennessee easily beat New Mexico State 42-9 as you'd expect. And Miami destroyed NC State 41-7. Definitely thought that game would be a lot closer. But Miami's an interesting team because they're not very likely to make the ACC title game. Because The ACC is another race where it's pretty chaotic. I mean, Duke lost today. They're not going to make the champ game. That they've got multiple conference losses. But there's still 4 teams in the ACC with 1 conference loss. Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pitt, and SMU. I don't think any of them play each other. Oh, sorry, Georgia Tech plays Pitt next week. That's a huge game. The winner of that game might make the conference title game. I don't know what the other tiebreakers are. But then Virginia's got a pretty clear path with their only one. No, they've got to have more than 1 game. They're only 8-2. But Virginia's got a pretty clear path. Let me pull it up on here. It's going to be a lot easier to look at. Yeah, you've got 4 teams with 1 conference loss. Georgia Tech and Virginia both 6-1 in conference play. Oh, Virginia's 9-2 overall. That's why they've only got 1 game left. That's Virginia Tech, which you'd expect them to win. Pitt is 5-1. They did lose to Notre Dame today, but it doesn't matter because it's out of conference. But they have 2 really tough games left: Georgia Tech and Miami. I'd be pretty surprised if they win both those games and end up in the title game. And then you've got SMU, who, I mean, they're good, but I don't think they're amazing. They play home against Louisville next week and then at Cal the following week. But I think we'll probably see Georgia Tech and Virginia in the conference title game, but that's another interesting one to watch. But there's definitely some games to keep an eye on. I mean, the Group of 5 playoff race we already talked about. ACC, same thing. The Big 12 could potentially get 2 teams in. Texas Tech looks like pretty much a walk, as long as they don't go lose to West Virginia, but West Virginia is awful. I don't think they're going to lose there. BYU could get in. Houston, maybe, but they're probably not, actually. Houston, they haven't really played anybody. I see they've only got 2 losses, but they don't really have any wins. They've also got a bad loss to West Virginia, and they got blown out by Texas Tech. Then the Big Ten's another interesting one. You would think they're getting 3 in. Obviously, Indiana and Ohio State pretty much guaranteed. Michigan's got a chance if they can beat Ohio State and they win out. I think they could probably make it to 10-2. And then USC, they play Oregon next week. Oregon's not a walk. I think they could make it if they win out and beat USC, or they will make it. I think they could make it if they lose to USC, but I don't think that's a guarantee. And I think USC is probably very likely to make it if they do beat Oregon next week. And then the SEC is another really interesting one. They'll probably get 5 in. It could be 6, but obviously I hope it's not 6 because that knocks Notre Dame out. And obviously, if you guys don't know, I am a Notre Dame fan. But yeah, we got some chaotic playoff races in each conference. But as far as the rankings go this week, I would expect definitely some change. Obviously, we got Alabama as the highest ranked 1-loss team losing. So you would think the top 3 will stay the same: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M. But then 4, you would assume Georgia will move up to 4. Texas Tech will move up to 5. If Ole Miss wins, they'd move up to 6. Oregon would move up to 7. Then I would think Oklahoma would move up to 8. Alabama would be 9. And Notre Dame would fall a spot to number 10. That's what I think would happen if results hold. But I mean, if Ole Miss loses, that really makes things chaotic because Ole Miss, they're 9-1 right now, have a path to the SEC title game. And are they still losing? They are still losing to Florida. 24-20. They must have turned it over inside the red zone or gone for it and didn't get it. But if Ole Miss loses, that makes things really interesting because they're going to fall down. Definitely below Notre Dame. they'd probably fall down because that's a bad loss to Florida. Although, I mean, who knows how the committee would really value a Florida loss because Florida does have the win over Texas as well. And they played Georgia close, but I mean, at the same time, Florida's won like 3 or 4 games all year. But I'll talk some more about the rankings a little bit later when we know what's exactly going on with Oklahoma or with Ole Miss and stuff like that. But the second half set to begin within the next couple minutes. And Georgia does get the football to start the second half. And let's see how things keep going. But the kick is going to be returned here from the 3-yard line. And on the return, here's Zachariah Branch, who's got space. Across the 30, Branch across the 40, and he's forced to bounce at the 48-yard line. Huge return for Georgia to start the second half. Zachariah Branch, extremely good at the ball in his hands. That's why they've got him returning kicks. And a huge return right there. But the Georgia offense takes over with good field position here. And let's see what the Texas defense can do. They've been playing pretty well after the first couple drives. Let's see how they look to start the second half. Georgia hands off here. Bowen's right side. He's got nowhere to go. They're going to lose half a yard right there. So it's a 2nd and 10. Stockton in shotgun back to his left. They bring Branch in motion. Stockton, swing pass, Bowen's right side. Bowens got the block and got about 6, maybe 7. Looks like about 6. So 3rd down here for Georgia. 3rd and 5, what it's marked as. Stockton throws, knocked up in the air, and back to Stockton, who just knocks it down to the ground. And it's 4th down. Stockton didn't want to catch his own pass. He just bats it down to the ground. But Georgia gets forced to punt. So the Texas defense does their job once again. They force a quick 3 and out on the first drive of the second half. So the punt is away. Niblett will call fair catch at the 20-yard line. By the way, Georgia's going to be without one of their better defenders, C.J. Allen, a linebacker who's out for the rest of the game with a left leg injury. Hopefully he's okay. But he's out for the rest of the game. Big loss for the Georgia defense. But by the way, the Texas defense, they just said, has forced 4 straight punts. So they've started to really play well. And now they need the offense to step up. Let's see what kind of adjustments they made at halftime. The 1st and 10, they start at the 20. Handoff, Wisner, left side. And Wisner dances his way for about 5 yards. That is something Texas didn't do much in the first half. Very pass heavy. I think if they can get the run game going, that could really help out the offense. 2nd and 5. Back to the ground here. Wisner is going to break a tackle. Now he's going backwards. Wisner still on his feet. And then he's going to go down for a huge loss. It's going to be a loss of 9. As he originally had nowhere to go. Then he tried to get more, but he had nowhere to go. And ended up losing, I believe, 9 yards in the play. So it's 3rd and 13. It's a loss of 8 for Texas. And it's now 3rd and long. They're 0 for 6 on 3rd down. And here's another one. They bring Moore in motion. Manning looks to throw. Has time. Throws. That is going to be caught by Wingo. 1st down, Texas. 16-yard completion. They move the sticks for their first 3rd down conversion of the game. That's a nice play. Great blocking up front. Nice throw and catch from Arch Manning to Ryan Wingo. Their first 3rd down conversion of the game. From the 32 now. Manning, pump fakes the swing pass, now throws one downfield. Back shoulder from Moore, and that's caught. Stays in bounds, makes a cut. And he's taken down at the 49-yard line. Felt they could have had a bigger play if they led DeAndre Moore downfield, but Arch Manning instead throws a back shoulder, which, I mean, that works out, but if you could have hit him more down the field, I know there was a deeper safety, but I still think if you can hit him a little bit further downfield, you have the opportunity for bigger play, but still a nice gain right there. Long throw to the outside for Wingo, makes the catch, got about 5. No, they're going to give him 2? Well, I thought he got a lot more than that. Wingo is obviously coming back for the football, but I thought he got a lot more than 2 yards. Ryan Wingo, 4 catches for 34 yards. A couple drops as well. All 6 of his targets have hit him in the hands. But the only problem is he only caught 4 of them. So 2nd and 7. Manning, play action, looks to throw. And he'll check down here on the flat. And he's going to lose a yard, maybe another 2. Or maybe another one as well. But we've got a flag down on the play. We're going to get a personal foul here against Texas. Sorry, no, hold against Texas. Going to be a hold against Texas. Backs him up 10. I mean, I guess Georgia could have also wanted to keep the result of the play, which was a loss of a yard or 2, but we'll take the penalty. Yeah, that's definitely a hold right there. The 8th penalty against Texas. Been a problem for them this year, especially in this game. Manning looks to throw. And he'll check this down here to Wisner. On the hole in the game, 4. Florida still leads Ole Miss 24-20 nearing the 4th quarter in that game. 3rd and 14. Manning its quarterback run. He's got nowhere to go. Taken down for loss of a yard. And the Texas offense able to do something, but not much. They call a designed run here for Arch Manning. And he just has absolutely nowhere to go. As it brings up 4th down. And the struggles continue on 3rd down for Texas. And obviously, that was a really long 3rd down, but they're still 1 for 8. This punt here, fielded by Zachariah Branch at the 11-yard line, and he'll turn upfield to the 18. And that is where Georgia will take over for their 2nd possession here in the third quarter. But Texas really needs to get the offense going. Defense, they forced 4 punts in a row. They're in a really good, or they're playing really well. And the defense needs to keep playing well. They need to get the offense going and actually do something now. Well, check some other scores while they're at commercial. That Ole Miss Georgia score is fascinating. What? Kawan Lacey has run for 204 yards. Yeah, Ole Miss has 20 points. Ole Miss has 472 yards of offense in 3 quarters, and they've scored 20 points. Problem is they're 1 for 4 in the red zone. That's definitely something. They've also turned it over once, but that's impressive. You're going to be 500 yards and you have 20 points. But Utah leads Baylor 35-20. That game entering the fourth quarter. Ohio State still destroying UCLA. That game stays 27-0. But we wait for them to come back from commercial. Georgia's offense gets the football back at their own 18-yard line with 8:55 to go in the third quarter. But a 1st and 10 here as they return from commercial break. Stockton off play action. Gonna look to throw here on the first play. And Stockton throwing outside, caught by Branch. Gain of 6 and and a solid pickup there on first down. Makes it 2nd and 4. Well, we've seen 3 scoring drives in the first 4 drives of this game to start. But since then, we've seen 8 punts and interception. So 2nd and 4. Stockton in shotgun back to his right. Stockton, pump fakes the screen, looks to throw plenty of time. Zips one downfield, intercepted! Picked off by Anthony Hill, who runs over his own teammate. But he gives Texas the ball at the 36-yard line. Wow, that is a huge play by this Texas defense. They have been playing really well since that first quarter, as Georgia turns it over for the first time. Wow, this is a really big play by this Texas defense. Stockton throws it right to Anthony Hill. He's looking for Dylan Bell on an in route, but Hill makes a nice play in the football. And Texas with the ball inside Georgia territory at the 36. Maybe this can jumpstart the offense for Texas. I've said that a lot today, but they've done nothing consistently. They start with a screen to Wingo for a gain of 3. It's his second pick of the season for Anthony Hill Jr. And here's a throw to the outside, another screen for Wingo, and he's tripped up here after another minimal pickup, just a yard. And that could have been a big play right there if Wingo is able to stay on his feet, because got a blocker downfield, could have potentially have a nice chunk play. But instead it's now 3rd and 6. And Texas is just 1 of 8 on 3rd down. Manning looks to throw, has time. Manning throws outside, high throw, caught by Wingo, what a catch! He climbs the ladder and makes the play at the 19. That is a nice throw and catch. He's able to get it just over the defender, and a really nice catch by Ryan Wingo. Man, that's a nice throw. And catch, too. Wingo, 7 catches for 52 yards. There's an empty backfield for Arch Manning, as Texas in the red zone for the first time. Manning zipped one, incomplete, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Makes it 2nd and 10. We got 6:26 to go in the 3rd quarter. So 2nd and 10. Empty backfield for Arch Manning. Pump fakes. Manning pressured, steps up, tries to at least, and he's going to get taken down for a sack. He's able to get closer to the line of scrimmage, but it's going to be a loss of 3. And brings up 3rd and long here for Texas. Not a good spot to be in. So it's now 3rd and 13. A big play right here. You don't want to take a sack for Arch Manning and make this a more difficult field goal. Because you would take your points here if you're Texas, at least you would think, with the field goal making it a 1-score game. But they're on the Georgia 22-yard line. And we got a timeout called by Texas right here, with the play clock winding down. It would be a 39-yard field goal if they throw an incompletion or something like that. So, I mean, that's already not a guarantee with the college kicker, so you definitely don't want to take a sack or have some kind of negative play to make it even harder. Oh, Ole Miss took the lead over Florida, 27-24. Kawan Lacey with a 1-yard touchdown. He's now run for 210 yards and a score. Or 2 scores, actually. So Ole Miss up by 3. With 12:13 to go there. Utah leads Baylor 42-20. Ohio State, UCLA still same score. 27-0. But we wait for them to come back from commercial after the timeout called by Texas. Definitely not ideal to use a timeout right there, especially with it being the second half and wanting to save them if you need to potentially get a stop late in the game. But you also could have potentially had to delay the game right here, so I understand calling it. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial. Obviously, a 14-3 Georgia lead. Texas has not scored since their first drive of the game, where they kicked a field goal. Although Georgia hasn't done a ton either. They scored in their first 2 drives, but hasn't done anything since. We still wait for them to come back from commercial. So 3rd and 13 for Texas. 5:38 to go in the third quarter. An 11-point lead for Georgia. They motion Niblet out of the backfield, line him up as a receiver to the left side. Manning looks to throw. Manning, pressured, has time now, and throws to the end zone. That is broken up, incomplete, but a flag comes in. Looking for Ryan Niblet, who got a hand on it. Arch Manning did a good job to step up in the pocket right there and give himself some more time. We're going to get defensive pass interference right here. Going against Georgia. Definitely some contact right there. The first penalty that goes against Georgia in this game. 8 penalties for 53 yards against Texas. 1 for 15 against Georgia. But it's 1st and goal here for Texas. Manning in the pistol, Baxter behind him from the 7-yard line. Manning, play action, has time, throws, end zone, touchdown, Ryan Wingo. And Texas finally has the offense wake up a little bit. It's a 7-yard touchdown to Ryan Wingo, as they're able to capitalize off the interception with 5:27 to go in the third quarter. But it's a 6-play, 36-yard drive. And the extra point is good. 14-10. Georgia leads Texas, but a big touchdown for Texas. Let's see how Georgia responds. But it was the interception by Gunnar Stockton that really set Texas up for that scoring drive. The 3rd pick of the year thrown by Gunnar Stockton, and Texas able to take advantage. Now only a 4-point game. Ole Miss still leads Georgia 27-24. 9.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter there. Before out of the ball, 3rd and 5 on the Ole Miss 30. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial. Alright, but we still wait for them to come back from commercial. It's a long commercial break. But let's see how the Georgia offense responds. They've punted quite a bit after their first 2 drives. Turned it over in their last drive. And let's see what they can do here on this possession. In Georgia, they went touchdown, touchdown. And then they went punt, 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 interception. Texas, they've gone field goal, punt, punt, interception, punt, punt, and then the touchdown. But they're back from commercial. Georgia gets the football back. So Texas kicks it off. And here's Branch from the 7-yard line. And Branch getting to the outside here, and he's taken out of bounds the 27. I don't know why you'd ever kick the ball to him. Really does not make any sense. I mean, for a guy so dangerous with the ball in his hands, it makes sense that Georgia wants him back there to see if he can break off a big return or even take one all the way. But if you're an opposing team like Texas, why would you give him the ball with a chance to return it? I don't think that makes any sense. I'm always kicking the ball through the end zone. Or at least kicking it deep enough so he doesn't have a chance. Stockton hit as he throws here, got hit hard, but got rid of it to Delp for a gain of 8. And a solid pickup there on first down. Colin Simmons with a big hit on Stockton as he threw that pass. But it's a 2nd and 3 here. Stockton in shotgun back to his left. They bring Zachariah Branch in motion. And Stockton hands off Frazier for no gain. A ball comes out at the end, but he was down first. So it's a 3rd and 3 here. Third and 3, 4:10 to go in the 3rd quarter. Stockton in shotgun, Cash Jones, the 3rd down specialist, to his right. Texas brings 4. Stockton swings it out to Jones, and Jones is going to be forced out of bounds very close to a first down. They're going to mark him a yard short, and it'll be 4th and 1. This is a close one right here. So it's where the football goes out of bounds because he doesn't step out until he entirely lands out of bounds, which is like well past the line to gain. So 4th and 1. Georgia forced to punt it again. We got play stopped here. So they're going to take a look at it right here, but there's just nothing you can really see here of when the ball crosses out of bounds. I think that's the right call that he's short. But it's hard to tell because of the way he goes out of bounds. You need to sync up like the two angles to really give you a chance at this. But they marked him a yard short, which I do think is the right call. So let's see. The ruling the field is upheld. It's 4th down. I think Kirby Smart just called his punt team off the field and said we're going for it. Yeah, they're going to keep the offense out there. So the offense is on the field for Georgia. I don't know if they're going to actually snap this. But Georgia converts on 4th down 68% since the start of last year. Highest rate in the SEC. There's no way they actually snap this, right? They need a full yard. They're on their own 36. Stockton comes under center, and they will snap it. They're going to go play action. Stockton throws to the flat. Call for a first down by Bowens, and he's taken down at the 47. Well, what an aggressive call by Kirby Smart to go for it. And it pays off. Wow, I did not think they'd actually snap that. So it's a 1st and 10 from the 46 after the 4th down conversion. And Stockton hands off. Bowens taken down for loss of a yard. Back at the 45. Texas defense tonight, 7 pressures on Gunnar Stockton, 4 TFLs. So 2nd and 11, Stockton looks to throw. Stockton gets pressured and sacked. Stockton loses 3, and it's 3rd and long. Another big 3rd down right here. 3rd and 13. Minute 35 to go in the 3rd quarter. Georgia up by 4. Stockton in shotgun back to his left. Now Cass Jones moves to his right. Stockton looks to throw. Plenty of time. And again, we'll just check it down to Jones in the flat. And Jones, oh, he's going to be close again. He stayed. No, he didn't stay in bounds. He stepped out 5 yards short. If he was able to stay in bounds, that would be another tough spot for the official. but he steps out of bounds 5 yards short. Yeah, he does step out. Again, the offense stays out there for Georgia, and they're going to have free play. Simmons jumps off sides. Stockton throws it deep down the field, and the pass is incomplete. And there's going to be pass interference on that as well. So there's going to be 2 penalties off sides as they get Texas to jump. And they get another flag downfield for pass interference. So there's going to be 2 penalties here. No, there's no foul for defensive pass interference. But the offsides is obviously still a penalty. Colin Simmons jumps off sides. And this is also a good no call with the pass interference. That's not interference. But the penalty, the offsides gives Georgia a first down. And they'll hand it off here to Nate Frazier. And Frazier up the middle, still on his feet. Got about 7 yards, maybe 8 yards. A nice first down run. So 2nd and 3. They give him 7. Eight play, 36-yard drive. 4 run plays, 4 pass plays. Play stopped here. We got a timeout in the field for a medical stoppage. So Sony must have seen something that went number 4, McDonald for Texas, to get looked at for something. Oh, 'cause he was down in the field holding his head for a second. But hopefully he's okay. Jelani McDonald, defensive back for Texas, over on the sideline now. But that is also going to bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Georgia leads 14-10. They still have not scored since their first 2 drives of the game. But they're still up by 4 as we enter the 4th quarter. And they've got the football putting together a pretty good drive. But some other scores from around the country. Ole Miss still does lead Georgia, or lead Florida, 27-24. They've also got 3rd and goal from the Florida 3-yard line. Utah leads Baylor 49-28. Ohio State leads UCLA 41-7. Ohio State returned to kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown. And then TCU and BYU going to kick off in about a minute. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial here as we enter the final quarter of play. 14-10, Georgia lead. The offense really has not been good recently, but they're still up by 4. But they really need to get some points in this drive, at least a touchdown. Or did I say at least a touchdown? At least a field goal to make it a touchdown game. But still waiting for them to come back from commercial. We enter the final quarter of play. Georgia up by 4. They also got the football with a, I think, a second down and probably 11. Let's see. It's second and 3 on Texas 37. So it's second and 3 for Georgia. First play of the fourth quarter. Stockton looks to throw. Throws the flat for Bowens. Almost dropped it, but able to make the catch and gain 7. First down. Nine plays, 43 yards. It's taken 5:50 off the clock so far for Georgia on this drive. From the Texas 30, Stockton and shotgun back to his right. They bring Delp in motion. They fake the toss, throw up the seam, and is caught by Humphreys. He's in. Touchdown, Georgia. They finally get back in the end zone. It's a 30-yard touchdown from Stockton to Humphreys. And Georgia extends their lead. They answer the Texas touchdown. And they're going to go back up by 11. But a big touchdown drive right there for Georgia. 10 plays, 73 yards. They take 6:07 off the clock. And here's Woodring to add the extra point. And the extra point right down the middle. 21-10. Georgia back up by 11. Texas scores a touchdown. Georgia answers right away, as they score their first touchdown since their second drive of the game. But a huge touchdown right there. Texas has 2 defenders take the same receiver, which leaves Humphreys wide open. Ole Miss still leads Florida 27-24 with 2 minutes left. But Florida has the football back and a chance to go win it. Or at least tie it. Well, the Florida now is 4th and 9 from their own 4-yard line. And here we got an onside kick, and it's recovered. It's recovered by Georgia. Georgia goes with a surprise onside kick, and they recover it. Now, I don't know if this ball went 10 yards, but they're able to keep possession and they recover the surprise onside kick. Wow. What a call to go for that right there. Cass Jones was the guy who came up with it. Yeah, it definitely goes 10 yards. Wow. Man, what a play. What a call. To go with the surprise onside kick. So Georgia has the ball back and they're on 47. And they hand it off here to Frazier. And Frazier with a nice run inside Texas territory to the 43-yard line. If Georgia can put this in the end zone here, that might do it. An 18-point game. The Texas offense that hasn't played that well. Go back to the ground here. Frazier gonna run through somebody and gain 5. With 2nd and 5, 13:20 to go in the fourth quarter. At the ball on the Texas 39, Stockton and shotgun back to his left. Stockton sets up a check down here for Bell, and Bell's got space, spins his way for a first down to the 29-yard line. That was pretty much a screen pass. The guy's blocking downfield already. And was just designed to dump it off to Dillon Bell. 12 and a half minutes to go. Georgia outgaining Texas 103 to 55 in the second half. Here's Frazier straight ahead. He's got another good run of 8 yards down the 21-yard line. And another good run against one of the best run defenses in the country. So it's 2nd and 2 from the 21-yard line. Stockton in shotgun back to his right. Stockton, hands off. This time Bowens gets it straight ahead. He's got a first down. He got 2, which is all we needed. And a first down for Georgia. By the way, Florida just had a 4th down and 7 from their own 4. They turned it over on downs, and Ole Miss can yell at the clock. So they'll survive and win 27-24. And Bowens is now down hurt for Georgia. That's not good. Been one of their more effective runners this season. Hopefully he's okay. Chauncey Bowens is the injured player. Number 33. It's been very good for Georgia this year. 474 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. Hopefully Bowens is okay. And we wait for them to come back from commercial here. But we wait for them to come back from commercial after the injury timeout. I was hopefully Bowens is okay. Let's check some other scores while we wait for them to come back. Oh, interesting. Ole Miss didn't kneel out the clock. They scored a touchdown. It's 34-24 now. Why would you not just kneel out the clock? They gave it to Kwan Lacey, who's now run for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns on 31 attempts. That might not be the smartest thing. I know it's very unlikely, but I mean, now you at least give Florida a chance. Like, there's a very, very small chance Florida can go score a touchdown, get an onside kick, and score a touchdown to win it or kick a field goal to tie it. Because there's still a minute 43 to go. Now, pretty unlikely, but not impossible. I don't remember if this score has changed from the last time I talked about it. Utah leads Baylor 49-24. Ohio State leads UCLA 41-10. And BYU taking an early lead over TCU. They lead 3-0, 5 minutes in. We're back from commercial. Georgia keeps it on the ground, hands it off up the middle to Nate Frazier. We'll gain 3. And now Texas with an injured player. That's Anthony Hill Jr. That is probably the last guy you want hurt if you're Texas. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's okay. 5 tackles tonight and a tackle for loss. 6'3", 238. He's one of the best defensive players in the country. We've got 11 minutes to go and 11-point lead for Georgia. A 6-play drive, 5 plays on the ground for Georgia, 36 yards. So it's a 2nd and 9. Georgia 73 yards in the 4th quarter, Texas 0. There's a design run for Stockton to the right side. Stockton gets a blocker, has a first down. And he got 9, maybe 10 yards. But it's enough to move the sticks, make it 1st and goal for Georgia. Stockton 23 of 28 for 223 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Plus, he's also run for 25 yards. First and goal. Stockton, hands off. Frazier, pretty much stuffed at the line. Maybe got a yard. Brings up 2nd and goal. 9.5 minutes to go. It's an 8-play, 47-yard drive, taking 5:07 off the clock. We got Stockton in shotgun, and Stockton is going to throw to the end zone. Another touchdown. Walson Waukee makes the play. It's the 4th touchdown of the day, thrown by Gunnar Stockton. The 6-yard touchdown catch for Walson Waukee. It's like a triple option play right there for Georgia. Stockton could have handed it off inside, kept it, and run it himself, which it looked like that's what he was going to do. Or thrown it to the end zone. That's what he does. And Walson Waukee, with the touchdown, make it 28-10 after the extra point. But a 9-play, 53-yard drive to take him 5:27 off the clock. And here's Woodring to add the extra point and put him up by 18. And it's good. That's a huge drive for Georgia. Makes it a 3-score game. And pretty much ends this game. Yeah, I think that's game as well. So it's 28-10. And Texas is going to get the ball back and see what the offense can do this time. If they actually get the football, that is. Utah still leads Baylor now 55-28. The extra point got blocked. Utah's run for 381 yards. They've only passed for 103. They've run for 381. Baylor is the exact opposite. They've thrown for 406 and run for 127. But Utah up big with 2 minutes to go in that game. Ohio State still with UCLA 41-10. They got the backups in there. BYU still up in TCU 3-0. And just got the ball back after a TCU punt. They got it on their own 9. And Ole Miss does end up beating Florida 34-24. But Ole Miss able to avoid the upset. They find a way to win. And they stay in the playoff race, stay in a pretty good spot. They'll probably be up to 6 after the Alabama loss. The Alabama's going to fall behind them. And Ole Miss obviously has to be above Oklahoma because they went to Oklahoma and won. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about Notre Dame. I mean, they're going to probably drop a spot because Alabama's most likely going to stay above them. Oklahoma's going to jump above them for sure. And, I mean, they should be good as long as they can win out. But, I mean, they're obviously not going to make it if they don't win out. But that's still a little concerning if there's some more chaos. But this loss for Texas should pretty much eliminate them. Not fully, but they should be pretty much eliminated. And as long as nothing, like, insane happens, I think Notre Dame should be good. But the Oklahoma loss, or win today, definitely did not help, because now Oklahoma's going to take another at-large spot. But I actually do think there is a chance the Oklahoma win actually helps Notre Dame, because in the last week in the rankings, Notre Dame is now projected to go to Oregon and be the 9th seed, which then that would have them playing Ohio State in the quarterfinals should they win that game, which I think they would beat Oregon. But that game would be close, which I don't want to play Ohio State until the national championship game, regardless of who I am. But I don't want to play Ohio State I don't want to be on their side of the bracket. So if it does knock Notre Dame down to 10 seed, that might help them because then they'll play potentially Indiana in the second round if they win. Now, obviously, Indiana's a great team as well, but I'd feel a lot better about Notre Dame beating Indiana as opposed to Ohio State. Just some thinking. But the kick return for Texas, not good, just the 11-yard line. And that's where Arch Manning and the offense take over. Manning, pressured. Steps up, ball is out. The ball comes out. It is recovered by Texas. Back at the 5-yard or 6-yard line. But not good right there. It was a free rusher off the edge. And Arch Manning is getting knocked out before he can throw the football. That's a loss of 4 in the play. Third sack of the day for the Georgia defense. Manning in shotgun. Looks to throw. Manning, long throw to the outside, high, broken up. Wingo, the target, wants a flag. Not gonna get one. Still got 8:06 to go in this game. So it's a 3rd and 14. Backed up deep inside your own territory. Manning in shotgun. Back to his right from your own 7. Manning looks to throw. Manning steps up, lets one go deep down the field, and that pass just overthrown. Looking for Mosley. Mosley never really located the ball, and it's 4th down. And you're not really at a spot where you can go for here, even though Texas probably does need to. So they're going to be forced to punt. So Texas goes 3 and out very quickly, and they give the ball right back to Georgia. Branch feels is already inside Texas territory. He's got space in return, and he gets it all the way to the 34-yard line before he's taken down. But a big return there for Zachariah Branch. And here is the Georgia offense back on the field with 7:49 to go in the 4th quarter. Up by 18. With Stockton under center. Bring Bell in motion. And they hand it off to Nate Frazier straight ahead. And he'll gain 2. Maybe he actually only got a yard. With 2nd and 8. Halfway through the 4th quarter. Stockton under center. Branch comes across the formation. Another handoff. Here is Nate Frazier. He got space. Frazier 1st down. Inside the 20. Inside the 10. He's taken down at the 9. Another nice run for Nate Frazier. And another 1st down for Georgia. They've really started to run the ball really effectively in this second half. First and goal from the 10. Stockton under center. Bell again comes in motion. Another handoff. Frazier up the middle. Got 2 or 3. Brings up 2nd and goal. Fourth quarter yards, 116 for Georgia, -8 for Texas. Stockton under center. They handed the Bell in the jet sweep this time. And Bell going to gain 4 down to the 4. So it's 3rd and goal. Five minutes to go. A touchdown. The game probably already is over, but a touchdown puts it away for sure. Stockton in shotgun back to his left. That's Frazier. They bring Oscar Delp in motion. And we got a timeout by Texas, even though the play clock was winding down. Let's check some other scores. I mean, none of these really make a huge difference right now. Ohio State now goes up 48-10. James Peoples with an 8-yard touchdown run. Utah up 55-28 with 20 seconds left. They're in victory formation. And BYU, that game's still very early, still the first quarter, but they're up 3-0 and in the red zone. But we wait for them to come back from commercial. Hold on 1 second. We still wait for them to come back from commercial. Alright. Back from commercial. Ole Miss beat Florida 34-24 to avoid the upset there. So it's a 3rd and goal here for Georgia. 4:49 to go. The ball on the 4. Stockton under center. They go I formation. Stockton fakes the toss left, rolls left. There's fake toss right, and Stockton is in. 5th touchdown of the game. Gunnar Stockton, what a performance! Gunnar Stockton with a 4-yard touchdown with his 5th touchdown of the game. 4 passing, 1 rushing. And that is for sure it. 34-10, about to be 35. A 5-play, 33-yard drive. And here's Woodring to add the extra point. Make it 35-10. And it's good. Well, I don't even think they were trying to run Stockton here. They were trying to hit Oscar Delp in the flat, but he was covered. The receivers on the back of the end zone were covered. So Stockton just took it himself. But how about Gunnar Stockton? 5 touchdowns in the day. 4 passing, 1 rushing. Oh, BYU scored a touchdown the way they're now up 10-0. But Gunnar Stockton, 229 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and interception. 29 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. So Georgia kicks it off, 4:43 to go. And a fair catch taken by DeAndre Moore at the goal line. Quarterback comparison tonight, Arch Manning has not been terrible, but he has not been great. 20 of 30 for 187, a touchdown and a pick. So 1st and 10 from your own 25 for Texas. Manning and shotgun back to his left. Quick throw to the outside for DeAndre Moore. And Moore is going to cut up field and get close to a 1st down. They're going to give him 9, make it 2nd and 1. So 1st and 10. Actually, looks more like 2nd and 1, not a 1st down. Now, there's a 1st down. On the completion over the middle. Flag down, though. Is Stockton in the Heisman conversation or no? I mean, after this performance, he might be. I don't think so, but great game. We got defensive pass interference in that play, by the way. Texas, a 76% chance to make the playoff with a win, 27% with the loss. I mean, I think the Oklahoma win really makes sure Texas won't get in now. I think they had the opportunity to get in if there was another at-large spot, kind of just there between them and BYU. Like that, but now that Oklahoma's pretty much got that locked up, I think it's no chance for Texas, especially at 3 losses now. Manning takes a shot, incomplete. 4th and 14, or 4:14 to go, 2nd and 10. I like Mendoza winning it. He had a great game today, almost 300 yards, 299 to be exact, 4 touchdowns. He's definitely in that conversation. Ty Simpson, I think, might have not played his way completely out of it, but I think he's out of it now. And Julian Sain, he's got to be in there as well. Plus Jeremiah Love. He's been unbelievable over the past few games. Another great game today. Manning, pressured, rolls left. Manning throws incomplete. Oh, he almost hit Kirby Smart in the head. That might have hit Kirby Smart. Yeah, Texas is done. Especially with this game being a blowout. Like, I can understand if they lost on, like, the last play of the game here in Georgia, and then they went and beat A&M, who would be undefeated at that point, most likely. But now that this game is a blowout, as Baxter drops a pass, they're done. I mean, I don't really think they should have made the playoff at 9-3, considering they've got a bad loss to Florida. But I mean, it was always still a possibility. But now they're pretty much out of the playoff. But it's a fourth down here for Texas. Manning and shotgun, Baxter to his left. Manning looks to throw. Throws outside. That's called for a first down. DeAndre Moore makes the catch. Got 15. And they keep the drive alive. Some people had them winning it all, huh? Yeah. Texas, I mean, they were the preseason #1 team. But not the best year, and they're going to end up missing the playoff. Manning over the middle. Another completion. Oh, ball comes out. Ball was out. That's going to be a catch and a fumble. And Georgia's got the ball at the 37-yard line. Oh, no, he's down. He's fully sitting down before that ball comes out. So it's still going to be a catch for Texas. But yeah, Texas, they've had not a bad year, but a disappointing year for sure, considering the preseason expectations. I think people just expected Arch Manning to be way too good, way too early. But I mean, he's playing pretty well now. But obviously, didn't have his best game today. But yeah, it's not been a great year. But for Georgia, the rest of the way, they play Charlotte next week. So that's pretty much a guaranteed win, considering Charlotte's won one game all year. And then they play at Georgia Tech. That is not going to be an easy game. Going to Georgia Tech on Black Friday. And then for Texas, they get Arkansas next week, which should be a win considering Arkansas's won 2 games. And then they play A&M also on Black Friday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to stream that game. I'm considering it. I might be streaming that game Black Friday, 7:30, November 28th for Texas and Texas A&M. Not completely sure, but I might. I'm definitely leaning towards it right now. And I'm also considering streaming USC and Oregon next week, although haven't completely decided yet. If that game's at night, I might stream it. Manning looks to throw here, steps up, checks it down to Baxter, and Baxter going to gain a yard. But if USC and Oregon is at night next week, I'll probably end up streaming that game. But if it's not at night, probably not. Manning looks to throw here. Zips one over the middle. That's caught by Moore down the 15-yard line. It's been a pretty good drive for Texas, but way too little, too late. Let's see if we know the time for next week's game yet. Not yet. Okay. So 1st and 10 from the 15. Manning looks to throw. Has time. Steps up. What kind of throw is that? He just throws it away. But there's only a few games we do know the times of next week. We know A&M plays Samford, an FCS team at 12. Missouri plays Oklahoma at 12. Georgia plays Charlotte at 12:45. Eastern Illinois plays Alabama at 2. Kentucky plays Vanderbilt at 3:30. And then Notre Dame plays Syracuse at 3:30. Georgia should beat Georgia Tech, considering they'll have their starters rest against Charlotte, or will rest their starters against Charlotte. Yeah, you would expect it, but you never know. Although Georgia Tech hasn't been as great recently. Almost lost to Boston College, who's not good. Lost to NC State a couple weeks ago. You never know, but definitely seems like Georgia's playing their best football now. Seems like Georgia Tech's best football was a few weeks ago. Manning looks to throw here on 3rd and 6. Manning throws back of the end zone, incomplete. Wingo, the intended receiver, was on the ground by the time the ball got there, and it's 4th down. But the Texas offense this season, scoring 29.6 points a game, averaging 381.4 yards per game. The worst for a Steve Sarkisian offense since 2012 when he was with Washington. And Texas offense, Texas offense with just a little over 100 rushing yards a game, the worst ever for a Steve Sarkisian offense. Georgia brings the house here. Manning lets it go. End zone incomplete. That's a 4th down turnover. And Georgia's defense got the turnover on down. They'll be able to run out this clock. Man, the left side of the offensive line did absolutely nothing right there for Texas. Man, Arch Manning, I hit really hard right there. Multiple defenders as well. But Arch Manning ended up throwing for 251 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. I don't think he played terribly, but definitely not his best game. Backups in here for Georgia. Backup quarterback. Don't know who it is, but hands off for a loss of a yard. I definitely don't think Georgia expected to be able to put in their backup quarterback for the final 2 minutes of this game. But we reached the 2-minute warning here. 2nd and 11, Georgia leads. Or Georgia with the football, leading 35-10. But they'll go to commercial at the 2-minute warning, even though this game is pretty much over. Or it is over. The clock just doesn't say zeros yet. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial at the 2-minute warning. Hold on, lost connection for a second. We get that back on. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're just going to run out the clock, so it's not a huge deal. Alright, here we go. But we still wait for them to come back from commercial It's a 35-10 Georgia lead. BYU still leads TCU 10-0. We still wait for them to come back. This is a long commercial break here at the 2-minute warning. But let's talk about the rankings for next week while we wait. I mean, Ohio State's going to stay 1, Indiana will stay 2, A&M will stay 3. But 4, I would assume Georgia will move to 4 with the Alabama loss and also a dominant performance here. Then I would think Texas Tech moves up, Ole Miss moves up, Oregon moves up. Then I think that brings us to, hold on, 2nd and 11, handoff, no game. I think Oregon moves up to 7. I think Oklahoma moves up to 8. I think Alabama falls to 9. Now, Notre Dame or Alabama is interesting. Obviously, I'd love to see Notre Dame ahead of Alabama, but I just don't think that happens. But I mean, Notre Dame has got the 2 losses early in the year with Miami and Texas A&M. And they've been great recently. They destroyed a ranked Pitt team today. They've got a 10-point win over USC, who should be ranked pretty high. So that's what's going for Notre Dame. But Alabama, they do have the bad loss to Florida State, but I think they just got too many good wins. They've got the win over Vanderbilt by 16. They beat Tennessee, who's been ranked. No, they're actually unranked right now. And they've obviously got the win over Georgia, who's going to be top 4. And that's on the road. But I think that win alone puts Alabama above Notre Dame, even though it's close because they've got the bad loss to Florida State. But I think we see Alabama 9, Notre Dame 10. Then probably BYU 11 if they win. Maybe BYU 11. Utah 12. I think USC's can jump up from 17 and be pretty high. Because they beat a top 25 Iowa team today. But it was 4th down here for Georgia. They punted away. And it goes out of bounds. So Texas will take over 21 seconds left. Not like it really matters because there's no play that can get you 25 points in one snap of football. But the top 12, most teams winning convincingly. I would say A&M with the close win. Alabama lost to Oklahoma. Georgia win convincingly. Texas Tech wins convincingly. Ole Miss not their best game, but they did win. Oregon wins convincingly yesterday. Notre Dame won convincingly. Texas gonna get destroyed. They'll drop out. And Oklahoma beat Alabama. And then BYU and early into that game with TCU. So Texas hands this off. What will be the final play of the game? TJ Baxter got 4. And that is going to do it. The final score is going to be Georgia 35, Texas 10. It's a dominant performance for Georgia. Texas should be eliminated from playoff contention now. And what a performance. The Georgia defense dominates. The offense looks pretty good. Gunnar Stockton, 5 total touchdowns. He also had 5 touchdowns on a top 10 Ole Miss team. And he also had a great game against Tennessee. So he really likes to play in these big games. Although I don't believe he had the best game against Alabama. with Stockton. 5 touchdowns today. He had 5 against Ole Miss. He had just 1 touchdown against Alabama, because Georgia did not play that well. But he also had the big game against Tennessee when they were ranked pretty high. 3 total touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. The final score is 35-10. Georgia wins. Texas now 7-3. Georgia 9-1. But a great performance for Georgia. Not a great performance for Texas. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this stream. I'll let you guys know regarding next Saturday for potential USC and Oregon, depending on what time that is. But I'll be live tomorrow for Sunday Night Football. I will have rankings out tomorrow for college, and I got a lot of content on the way. But that's going to do it for this stream, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this stream, subscribe, turn on notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you in the next video.